Hey guys, so today I wanted to share with you my end of the year TBR. So these are the books that for the next 4 months I want to kind of try and focus on. I don't have a huge pile of books on here because I know that I'm going to end up like mood reading and picking up other things, and with book of the month and everything I'm gonna obviously incorporate those into this as well. But these are the ones or the books that I have my eye on the most, at least the ones that I want to try and focus on. I did make a summer TBR that I kind of wanted to focus on those kinds of books. I filmed it, I was editing it, I was going to upload it, and then my computer died in that video. I never made it up on my channel, which I'm very, very sad about. But I did post it on Instagram. If you guys, don't follow me on Instagram, I did post kind of my summer TBR, the books that I wanted to focus on the summer. And I did a pretty good job at following that TBR. I didn't get through all of the books on that TBR, but I stuck to those books really, really well, which I'm really excited about. So I figured I would do it for the last half of the year. And just go ahead and pick some books that I know I wanted to focus on and share those with you guys today. Now, the first book I have on this list is part of a series, and that is The Crowns of Crosswall. This is the third book, The Words of the Wandering by D.E. Knight. This is a middle grade fantasy series that I have been absolutely loving. Follows our main character, Ivy Lovely, as she kind of goes off to this magic school and learns a bunch of things. I love this world. I've talked about it and reviewed this book before on my channel. If I have a video review or something, I will link it on the screen for you guys. But I've been loving this series. This is one that I tend to reread before I read the next book in the series. So this is one that comes out, or at least the fourth book comes out in January. I haven't read book 3 yet. So I definitely want to try and most likely reread books 1 and 2 before I get to book 3. But this is definitely going to be toward the very end of the year because I want to kind of keep things fresh in my mind before book 4 comes out in January. So at some point in December, I will pick up the first 2 books again, read finally through book 3, which I have not touched yet, so that I can get through book 4. But this is one that I'm highly, highly anticipating. I have a feeling that I'm really going to love it because I again, absolutely love this series. And the next book on this list is a book that I have started and need to finish. That is Deathcaster by Cindy Williams-Chima. I started this book on audiobook a few months ago and just never finished. I was loving this series, absolutely loving it up until I switched to the audiobook version of it. I've been reading all of these books in physical form and just have really, really been enjoying it. But I know for a fact now that fantasy on audio just isn't my thing. I cannot get into fantasy worlds listening to them on audiobook because I'm usually always doing something else while listening to audiobooks, and fantasy just isn't the type of story that I can be doing other things at the same time because these tend to be more complex worlds and just like a large cast of characters that need to be followed, and I just cannot do it. So that's why I ended up putting down the audiobook. I'm about halfway through this one. I need to finish this one. It's the last book in the Shattered Realm series. I have read through 7 other books of this series and I need to finish this one. So I'm definitely going to pick this one up sooner than later. Probably at some point in September, if I have enough time, I will grab it and just finish off the rest of it in physical form and hopefully be able to enjoy it as much as I have been the rest of the series, because like I said, the last book I listened to on audiobook, this first one I've listened to the first half on audiobook, and just for some reason I've just lost my excitement for this series. But I think it's because I switched to audiobook instead of just reading it physically. But yeah, I want to try and get to Redemption Point by Candace Fox. This is the second book in the Crimson Lake series. Crimson Lake was, I think, my favorite book of March when I read it back for March Mystery Madness, and I absolutely loved that story. I loved the introduction to the series and to these characters and everything. It follows our main character who is being accused of a crime and kind of loses his job, moves off, and then in his new town he kind of starts this new kind of investigation firm. So the first book had kind of a dual mystery. It was, everything that was going on with his case personally in the past, and then everything that's going on in the present with the new case of this missing author that he's trying to solve with his kind of new partner that he has in this kind of new firm that he's opened up. So yeah, I mean, the next books, I believe they all follow different mysteries that he takes on in this new kind of role that he's playing. So yeah, really excited to get to the next book in this series. Hopefully I may reread book 1 before getting to book 2, but if I don't, I'll probably just jump right into book 2. But this is definitely one that I have my eye on for the fall time. Then I also have my eye on The Lion Game by Ruth Ware, her third novel. Don't really know what it's about, haven't really read the synopsis, but I've been slowly getting through all of Ruth Ware's books. At least I want to get through them in order. I've read her first 2 novels, really enjoyed them, really loved The Woman in Cabin 10, which I read in March for March Mystery Madness as well. So want to get to The Lion Game. I just recently picked this one up and am really excited to get to this one again. I'm just going to go into this one fairly blindly. I've heard really good things about Ruth Ware's writing, or at least mixed things, but mostly good things. But yeah, definitely excited to get to her next book. The next book on my TBR is the following Riley Sager book that I have not read yet, and that is The Last Time I Lied. His second book I've read. This is another author that I kind of want to read all of his books in order, like I'm trying to do with Ruth Ware. I read Final Girls last year, I believe it was. Really enjoyed it. I've heard his books are absolutely amazing. His mystery thrillers are definitely the type of book that I love to read, so I'm definitely going to pick up his second book and read that one. I have it on my Kindle, so I will definitely be reading that one in the fall time as well, and hopefully, get through maybe one more of his books before the end of the year. We'll see. I don't own any of his other books, so we'll see what happens. I'm trying not to buy too many. But either way, definitely want to get to the next Riley Sager book. I also want to read For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. This is one that I recently picked up. I saw a huge display at Barnes & Noble and it caught my eye. And it is an adult dark fantasy. It's the first book in a series, and I believe it's like a Red Riding Hood type retelling. I don't really know much about it, but I have kind of seen it make its rounds here and there on BookTube. I have seen some people read it and include it in like monthly wrap-ups and stuff, but I haven't really watched the videos to see the reviews because I kind of want to go into this one fairly blindly. I don't want to go into this one with expectations or with ideas of what other people thought about it before going into it, because again, this is one that I picked up randomly. I kind of want to leave it at that and kind of form my own opinions on it. But yeah, I mean, adult dark fantasy, and it's the first book in the series. I feel like this is going to be one that I'm really going to enjoy. Probably going to leave this one for the very beginning of December, because I feel like December is going to be a perfect time to read this kind of story. I also want to try and finish Middlemarch by George Eliot. This is one that I've been kind of chipping away through throughout the year, and I just need to kind of like sit down and really focus on this one. I feel like I'm never going to get this one done if I keep kind of chipping through it chapter by chapter like I've been doing. I need to really tell myself, okay, this is the next book that I'm going to read, like I've been doing with all of my other books, and just, read it until it's done, because I don't want to leave this one hanging until next year just because I started it this year. I'm about 200 pages in. I'm really enjoying it, and because I've been wanting to read more classics, this is definitely one that I need to finally, just kind of focus on and get through. Then I have The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina by Soraya Cordova. This is my last book of the month pick that I picked for August, I think it was. I'm probably going to leave this one for Hispanic Heritage Month, so end of September, beginning of October. It's a fantasy set in a Latinx-themed world. That's all I really need to know. I remember reading the synopsis and enjoying what I read. That's why I picked it as my book of the month. But at this point, I don't remember all of the details. But either way, one that I'm going to get to fairly soon, and hopefully, enjoy, because I enjoy kind of these Latinx-themed fantasies that I've read. I have read a couple, and I've really enjoyed it. So we'll see what happens with this one. And then before the end of the year, I want to read another series. I have been doing fairly well with reading or completing series this year, at least trying to complete series this year. So one series that I've had on my shelf for a really long time that I have not gotten to, and I own all of the books, and I feel like I now finally have to get to it, is A Darker Shade of Magic, or the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab, an adult fantasy series. Follows our main character who can travel between Londons. He has a coat that can travel between different colored Londons and stuff. And I think he's tasked to go into Black London and get some kind of mysterious object that's there. I've heard really good things about this series. I've enjoyed V.E. Schwab's writing in the past, so definitely one that I need to try and get to. I hope that I can actually read through this series. I really hope that I have enough time to do that by the end of the year, but we'll see what happens. But this is one that's definitely, if I do end up getting to read a series or binge through a series, this is going to be the one that I'm going to pick up. Then apart from those books, I believe I have one more arc that comes out before the end of this year. I will post a picture up on the screen because I honestly cannot remember which one of my arcs I have due before the end of the year. But I will definitely go ahead and read that one as well. Yeah, guys, that is it for my end of the year TBR. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys are planning on reading. If there are any books that you have specifically on your radar for the end of the year, let me know. If you guys have read any of the books that are on my list, I would love to know your thoughts about them. And yeah, thank you guys all again for watching. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.